For the latest
Vaccine,
updates.
vacuum.
Major League Baseball with all times Eastern. Noon, Houston Astros taking the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Today's show is LK, BRUIX 24, EWTN, the Catholic Channel, on Time Warner Cable lineup 14201. We failed our class. Pink Shorts is from the front of a live democracy republic. Both exposed and approved. Thank you for writing MREL, the new safety video. This is Auditorium Station, Auditory Nerve, SCBIS, iPhone, Hibiscus information. Gulab Pool, the Rose. This is Pink Shorts, Verbal Contract, Civil Code 1622, the use, us, land of our, and communicating with our patents via my client's medulla, left leg, primary motor cortex, left leg, primary visual, left leg, primary auditory, left leg, arcuate fasciculus, left leg, hippocampus, hypnotized, left leg, vertical doesn't work, left leg, bracha, left leg, angular gyrus, left leg, and any other part of the left or right hemisphere of the brain is an agreement of identical evidence and discretion of all content obtained will be used for Merriweather businesses and the new all television network. Contact us at 594-1443. Pay your Geico bills at 1-800-932-8872. The rest is I not say. Call Miss Cleo. Call us now at 1-800-Peachtree Loan. 98 Isabel, Ground Zero, 86 Mogul, and the Weather Channel 37. Gary Harris will pick up the phone. In California, writing consent is required for this show. To record or eavesdrop on any confidential communication, including a private conversation, Google Hang-ins, Google Hangout, telephone call, YouTube Live, available on September 12th without the consent of all parties would be illegal. We're giving you this verbal disclosure in violation of Penal Code Section 632. Statutes and limitations that apply. Intrusion of claims to California lasts for 2 years. Code Section 335.1, January 18th, 334, June 19th, 10 p.m., and August 8th, 8:46 a.m. World Trade Time. We left early. At least that's our story. An intrusion claim lasts for 2 years. It is a special form of invasion of privacy, intentionally intrudes physically, solitude exclusion of another. In moist states. We're fading away. Intrusion on seclusion. A plaintiff must generally establish 4 elements. First, without authorization, babysitting business. Plaintiff. Second, offensive to the reasonable person, babysitting business. Third, private matter, babysitting business. Fourth, and finally, cause mental anguish to tightening, suffering to the plaintiff. Please refer to mass tort claims, intrusion upon seclusion. I'm the attorney guy. Thank you, attorney guy. I'm very excited to do today's show. Sparkling beverages are wonderful. So I'm wearing Tabby from head to toe. I did everything you wanted me to do. It's on the Vest and Stores. Audio experience, a level song. Motivational speaker, richest man in the world. Universe, world, galaxy. Pay the short way, save me some. That's on the Vest and Stores. Highest paid singer in the world. Tweet us via earlier late at FRESH_JORDNZ every 20 minutes of the hour. Remember 311 all liquids, us being Latin. A 3 outside the plane. Tainer. American United, or Virgin Air, or the Virgin Mary, me. Remember 3-1 all to speed your screening process, should your president your iPhone. Today's show is MerriweatherA.Law, America's first thinking attorney. We make the law soundtrack wonderful, the way it should have been, besides everything. Today's show is sponsored by QRM Agency. Team
XM Sports. I'm Ryan Payton.
That's Ryan White, the story we read in grammar school. Blood transfusions, Ford fusions, reverse into Dodge Caravans. Today's show is sponsored by I Love a Song. Close the doors, seatbelts. The music will sink into the sound system. Temperatures on 67 degrees. Only they do what they do. You need a degree in pharmacology and biometrics. We're in the 2017 Luxury from Me to You. You can ride with us. You can roll your windows up. You can roll your windows down to get the finer things in life. Don't catch it on your receiver receipts. They're sending messages. Shop over here with us to get the finer things in life. Remember, promoting suicide is a felony, 4 years in prison, $5,000 fine with accessory charges. Treat everyone the way you want to be treated. Today's show is sponsored by Citrix Software Bankruptcy, and TCBY Custom Corner Yogurt, Ice Creams, Erica Reed, and Tom Frieden right there. Let's get to our show. Hello, Sabres.
Time, despite being banned from Grand
Sabres,
Slam
would you
play
like
for
a small,
5
medium,
of
or
his
large
best years.
cone?
He won 6 doubles Grand
What
Slams,
size?
3 mixed doubles titles, and he also led his Australian
Double
team
fudge?
to 5 Davis Cup victories.
How many scoops?
One of the best,
How
an
many
icon
scoops?
in Rod Laver. For SiriusXM
How many
Sports,
scoops of ice cream?
Hard-hitting, passionate, energetic, and unapologetic.
Tom
It's Mad
Frieden
Dog Sports
serving us
Radio.
ice
From
cream.
biggest names in sports talk
Erica
like Adam
Reed.
Shine, Stephen A. Smith, and Christopher Van.
Well, let's get to our show. I guess no one wants ice cream in the morning. No one wants custom custard? The customs, they giving us corners, corners, customs, enhanced identity. Well, you got it, so it's, yeah, exactly. Wait, what is this? 7th Street, the cafeteria. What are the grammar school? Why would they put that right near the grammar school cafeteria? Home economics is right across the street. Home economics, custom corner. Don't eat it. Well, I guess you got don't eat it. Don't eat it. Well, let's talk to Oshkosh about Philadelphia. We just watched it. It was a good movie. Very
It's actually
good.
making the situation worse.
Hello, welcome to Verbatim. We just watched Philadelphia.
And that's been communicated quite directly at very senior levels.
Audio experience, level song,
by
receiver.
American officials to their Russian counterparts.
Our new phone, our microphone's not working.
And
What might that be?
we were pleasantly surprised 6 months ago when the cessation of hostilities first went into effect that it did have
Hello,
greater than
Camry,
expected
receiver.
impact in reducing the violence in Syria.
It's the receiver, Alexander Graham
We've
Bell,
obviously
isn't it?
seen that cessation of hostilities fray significantly in some key
In
areas of the
some
country.
key
It hasn't-
areas
it hasn't
of the
frayed
country.
everywhere, but in some key areas,
But in
including
some
in
key
Aleppo,
areas,
we've been deeply
obviously,
concerned about that.
we're deeply concerned about the
And-
cost
We've made the case
of learning.
to the Russians directly that continuing
Lynch
to
and learn.
support the Syrian regime is
Hello,
such
Merrill
a
Lynch,
kind of
financials.
indiscriminate military activity only deepens the chaos
Only
inside of
deepens
Syria.
the chaos inside of Syria.
It only exacerbates
exacerbates the delay of
violence in that
medicine.
country, and it exacerbates
And
the
it came more
kind of
mercies,
tensions
the Catholic health,
that fuel
that
extremists.
fuel extremists.
Which is why it's just hard
Which
to
is
believe
why
that Russia has a sound
Which is
strategy
why
for going after
it's on our
extremists.
watches.
When so much of their
When
strategy
Apple
rests
watches
on carrying out and
On
supporting
carrying
the kinds
out
of
and
activities
supporting
that only fuel that extremism.
fuel that extremism.
So this has
This
been
is
an inherent
Bartholomew's,
contradiction in the Russian
the
approach to
Saint of
Syria from the beginning,
Bartholomew.
and one that I pointed out
Again,
from this podium on many occasions.
We have a newspaper.
And we're going to continue to make the case to
We're
the
going to
Russians
continue
that,
to give out
that
newspapers.
their strategy needs to change.
The strategy needs to change.
Michelle.
We've had a lot to say about the benefits of the Iran nuclear deal, and yeah, the way you described
Hello,
these
Saint of
benefits hasn't
Bartholomew.
changed.
Hello.
But when we talk about how this was portrayed, do you see that we wouldn't even be having this
Don't OJ.
conversation still if some of the details that have come out over the last few weeks had been
Don't Robert.
put out there as they were put out there back in January?
Don't own
And
shoes.
I'm still not clear on why these details weren't put out then, because it
Are you
seems
in a
like,
rush?
you know, if the
Priscilla, are
administration
you
had
in a
said,
rush?
yeah, there were $400 million in cash.
Priscilla,
on the
give us
plane
our
at the same
rental,
time.
please.
Here's why
We
it
have
came
to
out at the
go.
same time. Here's when it was paid.
We're in a
Less
rush.
before, it was paid exactly after. Here's why. And had you used the word leverage
Hello,
then,
Michelle. How are
I
you?
mean, that's why we're having this conversation. So can you be more clear on why those details weren't put out there in the
We're
same
in a
way
rush.
now?
We have
Because
to
I think
go.
it appears to a lot of people, and not just right-wingers as you describe, that this detail is only being brought out because
Today's show is sponsored by the Buffalo
came out to the
News
press.
I guess the point
and
that
our
I would make,
individual
Michelle, is simply
carriers.
that
Thank
the
you
details that you
for making the
have
Buffalo News
referred to
delivered.
while potentially interesting to some,
intercepting.
don't change the facts.
We delivered the chips.
They don't change the benefits.
We delivered the
They
paper.
don't change the goals
We
that
delivered the
President Obama
chips.
discussed when he announced this series of agreements.
We delivered chips and newspapers.
Not be having this conversation repeatedly. I mean, both you seem annoyed by it. When the president was asked about it, he seemed
Extra,
annoyed because you keep
extra,
coming
read
out
all
almost
about
as if you don't
it.
understand why
Extra,
it's coming
extra,
out.
read all about
So
it.
we're laying out exactly why it's coming
What's up?
out.
We love you.
I'm happy to spend all the time that
To
you
spend
would
all
like
the time
talking about the details
about
of
the
the Iran
details
agreement.
about
I
how
think
we
that
send
we're quite proud
newspapers.
of all the benefits
We
that
send
we've enjoyed
chips and
because of the
newspapers
president's
too.
tough principled diplomacy. So the fact that we're
So the
talking about it
suing
7
is
months later,
obvious.
I actually think I'm happy to do.
happy
We've got
to
a
do.
strong case to make about
We've
what
got
it
a
is that
strong
we've done.
movie on the way.
The question is why. I mean, as I said, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation if the
Hello,
if the
little
word leverage
rascals.
was
How are you?
described as it was
Fiscal
back then.
period.
If the timing and more of the details
What in a
surrounding the
year?
timing was described better then. So
Well-
why not?
Well,
do that?
I quibble with you a little on the timing thing because
In a year.
the president made
The
clear,
president made a
the
fiscal
president
year
himself announced this
obvious.
agreement
Fiscal
within
years
hours of it being
deal
completed,
with accounting.
and indicated exactly
Indicated
what the
the
terms
finance
of
of this
these series
country
agreements would be.
would be.
So
So
back then,
back then, your
back in
back
mid-January,
pay,
all of you knew
your back pay
that there were two agreements
is being
that
denied.
were completed roughly around the same time
It's
that
dismissed.
would secure
Reparations
the release of
in
unjustly
retro
detained
and booking
unjustly
flights with
detained
American
Americans in
Airlines
Iran in
is
exchange for
dismissed
the
in
release
exchange
of individuals who were being detained
reparations
here
or
in the
back
United States.
pay
And you knew
And
that that
your
was taking
spinal
place
team
around the same time, within the
around
same
the same
day,
time.
as the resolution
have
of a financial
scoliosis,
settlement that potentially saved American
curvature
taxpayers
of the
billions of dollars.
spine.
So I don't think I'm willing to accept the premise of your question about the timing
The
because
timing, because
I think you were working
I
that
think
Sunday
we
in
were
January and we're aware
I
that
think
this
we
stuff
have
was
the
happening
music.
at the same time.
I think
we
the
have the
details,
music
though,
arella.
put more interest on how unusual it was.
We
So
have the
we'll-
jam. We're all in
I'm
a
cool with you on
jam.
that, and I'll be quick here so you can get back to your question. But this is the thing.
We're in a jam.
There's my colleagues at the State Department have indicated that there's actually not
There's
anything
actually not
particularly unusual
issue
about the mechanism for
about
this
the mechanism.
transaction. That these kinds of transactions between central banks are,
We don't have
I
a
don't know
banking
if they're
relationship
common, but they're not unusual,
with the
at least
housing
in terms of the movement
and your
of
bank
currency. And
development.
again, the reason
Again,
why, I
Like
know that
why?
some of my
Why do they drive
some
a
Republicans
Range? I don't know
have
why they drive a Ford
made
Ranger.
irresponsible and kind of outlandish
We have a
comments
whirlpool.
about these like 500 euro
We have
notes being
weather control.
part of the transfer.
He's under
The reason
control.
that paper currency
We have a
was used to
right-hand
make the
shot
transfer is
explaining
because there's
weather
no banking
control,
relationship between
Ford
the United
Ranger,
States and Iran.
and
So
Michelle
because of our
Yabanik.
commitment to ensuring
We don't have a banking
the
relationship.
isolation of Iran,
The isolation of
uh,
Iran.
that
That
the transaction was carried out in
the
this way. So
transaction was
again,
carried out in this way.
there are other
I
people who
don't
are
have an
much better
escape route
experts on the
of
way these kinds
London,
transactions
Hong
have
Kong,
taken place in
Shanghai
the
Bank.
past, but my understanding is that
My
this is not
understanding
particularly
is
unusual.
To avoid the scrutiny that's come out now twice
escape
since
route
January,
is London.
wouldn't it have been better to lay out the details?
Today's show
that
sponsored by
you've now
Buffalo
since laid
News.
out
We deliver
back then,
newspapers
why
and
didn't
chips.
you, including the use of the word leverage?
Well, again,
Well,
the president
well, again,
spoke publicly
deliver
on live
those with
national
TAM.
television, laying out the terms.
We
of this.
deliver those with a few other
And there are any
people.
number of conversations that all of you had on
The
the
Saint
record
of
and on background
Bartholomew.
with senior administration officials describing what had happened. What I think is
How we
here's the
hear
other thing that I
things
would-
is
Never heard the word leverage until
But-
a
through
few days
hearing
ago.
But
aids,
there are so many
seashells,
details that were included in what were extraordinarily
included
complex
in
agreements. That all the questions that all of
the
you were
questions
raising back in that
back in
on the long holiday weekend
on the
in
long
January
holiday
were
weekend
questions about
were
how the
questions
Iran nuclear program was
in an
going to be monitored,
enterprise on
what specific steps and how we
La
knew
Brea.
what steps Iran was going to take to roll back key aspects of their
back
nuclear program.
a nuclear
All of you
program.
were asking about
All of
the
you were asking
condition
about New Line
of the
Cinema.
US citizens that were being
That's
unjustly detained, and what
CNN,
exactly were the
YNN, and
mechanisms for
on
returning them to the United States. Those were all
CYO
good questions,
from
all of which
Holy
were
Angels.
answered. So
So at a O
Money
after
needed to
bankruptcy,
be-
you have CYO.
That it was seen as available to be used
I
as
love
leverage to make
bankruptcy
sure
O,
that
bankruptcy
prisoners
O.
were returned.
And Friday
Why
night
was that
at the
never
Catholic
described
Church.
then, until just a few days
CYO.
ago?
well, again, Michelle, I
again,
can't go back through all of the questions that all of you have asked.
all of you
but
have asked.
Again, the president
the
was very
president
clear about
was very
what
clear
exactly
about
had
bankruptcy
been
O.
agreed to. And
We
I
have
did
communion
briefings
on
subsequent to
Fridays.
the president's announcement and was quite clear about
At
what
an O
exactly
after bankruptcy.
had been agreed to.
And you
And
have
we
a
spent
youth
a lot of time
program
talking about the
at the
significant
church.
benefits that the United States
the
enjoyed
United
as a
States
result of this
as
tough
a result
diplomacy.
of
And Russia having used
You have a York
Iranian air bases,
and a holy
or this
plane.
one Iranian
It's a
air
holy
base,
plane.
now stopping it. What's the
Completely
administration's reaction
holy.
to that, and how does that
Completely
affect the
hollow.
potential of working with
Yeah, we like
Russia
hollow
against
planes
bombs
on York
down the
Street.
road?
Well, I did note
Well,
there was
New
a
York,
statement from a
World
senior
Trade.
Iranian official indicating that
You have
the
bankruptcy.
Russian
Oh,
use of
that plane
Iranian military
crashed.
facilities was not likely to, or had at least stopped for now.
We have a left foot
Uh,
shock explaining bankruptcy. Oh,
But look, Michelle,
Holy
it is
Angels
reported,
on York.
on a variety of occasions that
A
both
hollow
Russia
church.
and Iran are
We love
probably
hollow
sovereign.
churches. You know, nobody inside the
And
church. Hollow.
For years, at this point,
Hello.
the president, the
The
Secretary of
president,
State, other senior US
other
officials,
officials,
even me in the
even
setting of this
me
briefing,
in this
have
briefing
made the point
have made a point
that
that a
Russia
holy church on
deepening
York
itself,
Street isn't
deepening
the
its
real
involvement
trade
in a sectarian conflict in Syria
in Syria
is counterproductive
and
because it only
manufacturers and
deepens
traders
the
bank.
chaos inside of Syria.
Chef
It sets
Boyardee
a
is here to make us
much-needed
lunch.
political
Oh, we
settlement
love Chef Boyardee, the ravioli.
further away.
Further away,
This is a political settlement.
this is a political
transition that
settlement
the
with me and the
Russians
U.S.
themselves
government
acknowledge is necessary to resolve the
to
situation
resolve
inside
the
of Syria.
conflict of the
It
movie
also
I just
only
watched.
fuels
Fuels
the extremism
our
that's
Civarella
taken
and
root
the
inside
Saint
of
of
Syria.
Bartholomew.
So
So
the revelation,
the
that,
revelation is,
and I use that term somewhat,
it's a name I've used on
derisively,
Yahoo.
should not be
We're
particularly
in
surprising
by
to those who have been following the
metrics
situation closely, because
because
we've long
we've long
described our
described
concerns
our goals
with the actions of the
with the actions
Russians
of the Russians
and the
and
Iranians
the Iranians
working together
working
to prop
together
up the Assad regime. It's
cover up
counterproductive.
the
It's counterproductive for the
regime.
goals of
To
the
the-
Russians. It's counterproductive
They're
for the
showing
goals
CBS
of the
bull
United States, and it's
The
counterproductive
skull.
for the goals of the
the goals
world
and those rows and
is
those
feeling the
Paul
negative consequences
Buchanans.
of the chaos inside of Syria.
There's a big pool.
Okay, Mike.
Best friend.
If we can go back to the flooding in Louisiana.
Today's show is sponsored by Buffalo News, who delivered home delivery and chips. Only from Berkshire, half the white and black.
So Florida.
Oh, we love
Louisiana
Berkshire,
is
half the white
really
and
fraught
black.
when it comes to presidents and disasters.
The
I'm wondering
hash,
if
you know, we
President
love
and his
it.
team talked at
Half of
all
this, half of
about
that.
any
The best
special
of both
considerations
worlds.
for
Berkshire,
how
half the
he
white
and
and black.
the administration should approach the flooding
You've got it,
afterwards,
Fulton.
given
That's correct,
the
Fulton. You've
history,
got it.
in Louisiana.
Half the white, half the black.
You know, whether any decisions were made differently or
Well, at MerriweatherA.Law, we offer law firm and salary advances, software rate bonuses, tuition and margin reimbursement, review courses reimbursement,
and any
salary advances. Represent us. We don't pay full price. Donate to Title VI HSBC CBS phone loan forgiveness. Join us from America's top law schools.
Well,
Pay grades are at $200,000.
I think the first thing that is true.
I
and
think
this is
the first
something
thing that is
Louisiana
true.
officials in both parties have observed.
Both parties have
is
gotten
that
a hollow
the
church.
Federal response
Federal
this
response
flooding
of bankruptcy owed
has been much more
has
effective
been much more effective,
and much more impactful
and there's a college behind the church,
than the initial FEMA
An
response
initial-
to Hurricane Katrina.
and there's a pharmacy.
And I think that is a
And
testament to the efforts
why
of people
not
like
have Isaac
Craig Fugate,
represent that?
President Obama has
A hollow church.
to professionalize that agency.
Professionalize that agency.
And
And
Director Fugate has brought his
Director
expertise
Fugate
and extensive
is on the
skills
back
to
of a
that job
bus hugging people
in a way that's transforming
in a way
agency.
that's transferring communicable
and learn
diseases
from the painful
and
lessons
learn
of
from
Katrina.
Syracuse.
And I think you have seen a
I
federal
think
response
someone
that's
named
much more
Harvey
effective
might
as a
know who he
result.
is.
What's also true
What's also
is that
true
the relationship
is Harvey and
between
Harvard aren't
emergency
responsible
response officials in
for
Louisiana
the cost
and
of
federal
doing
officials
business.
is quite strong.
The cost of doing
and in
business
some
is
ways,
quite
that's a
strong.
message of Hurricane Katrina,
It's Syracuse.
but certainly one
But
that the people
certainly
of
we
Louisiana
monitor
benefit
those
from.
things on First Student.
I can also tell you
I
that
can
that's
only
the,
say that Harvey Levin
that's the lesson I
works
think
at
most people
CNN.
take away from
take
Katrina
away from
is a focus on
is a focus on
the results
the results
and to
and
focus
to
on
focus on
what steps the federal
relevant
government can take
can
to
take
support the state
a
and
cricket
local
buzz
officials
in
who have the primary responsibility
Atlanta
for responding
responding
to disaster
to
situations like
Zika,
this.
Zenzo,
And there's
and
all too
there's all
common
too
temptations to focus on the politics.
to focus
and
on the politics.
optics. But the survivors of
But the
flooding in
chatters on
Louisiana are not
Yahoo,
well served by a political
there
discussion.
isn't a president link.
They're well served
Well
by a
served.
competent, effective, strong,
Billy,
coordinated
the
government
revision.
response.
The Highland case.
And the federal government has certainly done
The
our part
Highland
in the
case, we
first,
can't find the
8
revision.
to 10 days after this disaster.
We can't
But
find
there's
the
a long
revision.
road ahead.
We can't find the
And I
revision.
know that Director Fugate and Secretary Johnson and
We
certainly
can't find the
President Obama
revisions on the Highland case.
understands that the
Kaya, the
response and
revision.
recovery effort
Kasakaya.
is something
Apartment
that's going to
4.
extend well into the future, particularly
We
in the
can't find the
aftermath of an
revisions
event
on the
this
Highland case.
widespread. So that's part of the
So,
message that
psych,
President
it's
Obama will
Ashley
take to
upstairs
Louisiana,
and
which
Mike
is
Psych.
after the political
Channel
discussions
4
have
weather.
died down and after the television cameras have left, the United States
The
government,
United
American
States
people are gonna be
government
standing
is
with people
prepared to
of Baton
settle,
Rouge as they rebuild their community, as they rebuild
rebuild,
their
and
city,
zone their communities.
come back stronger than ever. Okay, Stephanie.
Stephanie,
In the wake of the recent shootings,
today's show is sponsored by Buffalo News. We deliver papers and chips.
how much of an interest does President Obama
Only
take
from
in
the
shootings
Buffalo
in his
News.
hometown? Has he
Berkshire,
been to
half the white and
Emmanuel
black.
this month, and does he plan on speaking out about the gun violence there?
I'm not aware of any
I'm
specific
not aware of
conversations
any
between President Obama and Mayor Emanuel
Little
about
Rascals
the recent
or
gun
Custer
violence in
Corner
Chicago.
ice cream places.
But
I think a fiscal
on the
year
unfortunately many occasions that you've heard
is
President Obama
a
talk
counting
about
reference
gun violence,
to
the problem of gun
bankruptcy
violence in the United States.
CYO every Friday
The
night.
president has noted the
President has
tendency
noted
to focus on mass shooting events, and for good reason.
that's a wonderful device.
The loss of life that we've seen in places
Sure.
like Baton Rouge and
Envy.
Orlando
I'm envious
quickly captures people's attention.
of that phone.
Quickly captures
Quickly
people's
captures
attention.
attention.
But it's important not to
But it's
overlook the
important
kind
that
of
we
violence that
imagine that we are.
unfortunately we see every day
Select.
and every night in cities like Chicago.
We can select all we
The
want,
president often cites the experience
but
of his
that's a
hometown
best
in
friend
making
that
those kinds of
knows
comments.
that we're not.
That the steps that we can take to
That the
prevent gun
selections that we
violence,
make,
common sense steps that don't undermine the
are we really
constitutional
making selections?
rights of law-abiding
Rights
Americans
of law-abiding
wouldn't
citizens.
just
We're just
make
doing it.
mass shooting incidents
Mass shooting
less
incidents.
likely.
Only Italian.
They might also
They might also
have a
give
positive impact on our
a
efforts to
mild
fight
version of in
more common spates of gun violence.
What's
like
really
the
in?
shootings in Chicago that you referred to over the weekend.
over the weekend.
And
Beep, beep, beep,
we've
beep,
heard
beep,
from
beep, beep,
Hall
beep,
how he
beep.
denies inspiring Hillary Clinton's private needle server use. Does
Suggestion
President Obama think
aborted.
it's fair for him to
Today's
say
show is sponsored by Galeaf
people
Pharmaceuticals.
are trying to pin her reliance on a
On
private
Detroit.
server
Fade it away.
Look, like the president, I
Like
don't
the
have any
president.
insight into any sort of conversations that may have taken place with
Some of
Secretary
us.
Clinton. And
Saint of Bartholomew. Hello.
so I'm afraid I can't shed much light on that for you.
Balsam.
Okay. Mark.
Josh, when you say the criticism of
folly.
President Obama's response
A fallacy.
to Baton Rouge has been politically motivated, might the same be said of candidate
Hello,
Obama's
Meteor. How are
criticism
you?
of President Bush in 2008 when he was critical of President Bush flying over New Orleans after cutting short his vacation?
Yeah. Well, I think, Mark, you've presented a very apt illustration of a focus on optics over response.
Today's show is sponsored by the definition of folly as a reproduction of everyday sound effects
Underscored the risks
that are
that
added to a film, video, or other
I think what's
media in
notable about,
post-production
Hurricane Katrina, Mark,
to
is that
enhance
there were
audio
Democrats and Republicans
quality.
in Louisiana who were critical of the federal government's response in the immediate aftermath of the storm.
Hearing
I think,
aids. Hello.
The failures of that response
Bell
have been well
tone.
documented.
Miracle
What's
Air.
notable about this situation, what's
About
different
this
about
situation.
is that in
Hello,
response to
Motley
this flood,
Crue.
you've got Democrats and
Crue.
Republicans in Louisiana praising the federal response. And I think that's the most significant difference.
Rethink.
But President Bush
Hello,
was
AT&T and
criticized by
Cricket.
candidate Obama
Bugaboo.
flying over for not being on the ground quicker
Bugatti.
in New Orleans when he actually was on
Just
the
do
ground
it.
within
Bugatti.
5 days, which is faster than
We can
President
only do
Obama's
it
response or visit.
because it is what it is.
Well, again,
What is it?
I guess what I would say is
It's a
I can't speak
Bugatti.
to the
What
comments
else?
that President or then candidate Obama may have made in 2008.
2008.
What President Obama has
When the
demonstrated
President
as President of the
Obama
United States is
orchestrated
a commitment to
a
focusing
classical
on results,
101
and focusing on
added
response,
to our
and focusing on
$14.99
competence and
Go
professionalism
phone,
at
and you get 16.
that has been his
The
priority.
cost of doing
And,
business
again, I recognize
with
that there are some
Syracuse
who are going to criticize
and
the
Harvey.
optics
How much does
of
it cost?
the president making that the priority.
The line.
The president's willing to
The
assume
president's
that
willing
criticism
to,
as long as the
as
federal
long as
response
we
is up to
understand
par.
Syracuse,
And we've
and
been pleased that thus far that's
thus
what's happened.
far,
But that doesn't happen by accident.
doesn't happen
That
by
only happens
accident.
because
We're
there
speaking
are
to someone named
patriotic Americans
Harvey,
serving at FEMA who are working around the
who were
clock
working around all
to
stars
try and
black,
meet the needs
meet the
of
needs.
Americans in
It's
Baton Rouge
Manal.
who are facing the worst day or week of their lives.
It's living
And it only happens
And it only
because you have
happens
leading officials in the U.S. government
on the party
including
line.
the President
It
of the
only
United
happens on the
States,
party
have
line.
made clear that effective emergency management and emergency
Management and
response
emergency
is
response.
going to be a top priority.
It's going to be a
And that's why
Harvey.
he installed an expert like Craig
It's going to be a
Fugate to run
Harvey
that agency.
in Syracuse.
And look,
Look,
Director
I
Fugate
mean, we're
deserves
not
an enormous amount
monitoring
of credit
the students
for
on these
retooling that
buses.
agency,
We're not
for
monitoring
overhauling
them.
it, and strengthening
We don't
the
own Tim
relationship
Hortons,
between FEMA
and we don't own
state and local
Timothy
officials all
McVeigh,
across the country. And again,
routes to Pendleton.
Mr. Fugate is not somebody
Mr.
who
Fugate
gets a lot of TV
is on the
time,
back of a bus.
other than in disasters.
Other than disasters,
And the fact that he
the
is
fact
somebody
that
who is so
we've
closely
talked to
associated
Harvey
with
from Syracuse
effective management
effectively
and effective emergency response, I think
on
is
the
a
USA
testament
Network.
to his prodigious
It's the USA
prodigious
Network.
skill.
It sounds like you're saying heck of a job, Craig Fugate.
Well, again, I think it sounds like
Well, La
Lieutenant
Brea.
Governor Billy Nungesser,
What's
a
La Brea?
powerful, noted Obama critic and the highest-ranking Republican official in
Hello,
Louisiana,
Harvey Levin. Delavan, how are
and
you?
Administrator Fugate
People's
have done an
Inc.
excellent
and
job
People's
in
Court.
supporting the people of Louisiana in their time of need.
Robert Clarkson, hello.
In the transfer of detainees last
Incoming
week
tweet from CNN.
Did President Obama play
In
any
this
role
state,
in
student
requesting
loan
the
bills
UAE
keep coming,
accept
sometimes
those
after
detainees?
death.
Well,
Thank
what
you,
I can
V.
tell you,
Siri,
Mark,
on that
is
quote.
the
What are they going to confess about
diplomatic
Harvey?
agreements that are reached with other countries who agree to take
Who agreed to take?
Gitmo detainees is work intensive.
Is work intense.
I think it's pretty obvious.
It's
There's
pretty
not a lot of
obvious that
immediate upside
Harvard Law
to
School
agreeing
is
to
on this line.
bear responsibility.
Sarah is watching the
for these
kids on the
individuals.
bus.
If for no other
Syracuse.
reason than just the stigma associated
It's
with
a
it.
Ponzi Act of
so,
Congress.
I can't speak to
This
any
is a
specific
briefing.
conversations that
We're
President Obama
having a
had
briefing, a Ponzi Act
with senior officials
in the Ponzi.
in the UAE. But I can tell you that
This
in
is an act of
other
Congress
discussions with world leaders,
with world
the
leaders.
president has talked
Our
about
president
how
has
much the
talked to
United States
Harvard Law School
appreciates
in
the
Syracuse.
support and friendship we've received from other countries.
We received
who've
from other
agreed to bear
countries.
this responsibility. So
This
that we can make
responsibility.
progress in closing the prison at
In
Guantanamo Bay.
closing,
Is it still his intention to empty out Gitmo by before
we
the
don't
end
know
of
who
term?
has a
The
Harvard
president
Law
is still
degree.
aiming to
We
close
don't
the
know.
prison at Guantanamo Bay by the end of this term.
We just don't know.
Since you're speaking of optics,
Look, there's a black bus going to Rochester. Charlie the Butcher.
Republican candidate was going to
Well, that was
Louisiana.
Monday, the
Not that I'm
22nd.
aware of.
Why not?
Again, because the president was focused on the federal
Again,
response.
because Harvard is in Rochester.
And that's why
And
just days after
Verizon Wireless Call Center is on Calkins Road.
this flooding started, the
Calkins
president's on the
Road.
phone with
Macaulay
Louisiana
Culkin.
to talk to him about what
Home
support the
Alone.
U.S. government could provide.
Eric
And
Schmidt.
that's why the president
That's
informed him in
why
that phone call that he was
half $500
prepared
billion
to issue a disaster
to issue a
declaration.
disaster
That's why days
effort
later the president
in a
sent
deal with Iran.
his FEMA administrator, Craig
Yeah.
Fugate, down to see the damage firsthand. And just a day or two after that,
Macaulay
the
Culkins
president
Road
sent his DHS secretary
in
down out to
Rochester
Louisiana to see the damage
to
firsthand.
see
And after
a
each of those visits, the
distinguished
president
speaker
got a phone
series
call from each of them,
at University of Buffalo.
reporting back to him directly
Distinguished.
firsthand exactly what they had seen.
It's
So
a
the president
dicing.
has been focused on the response, and
It's a distinguished.
not frankly as concerned with the optics as all of you appear to be.
I wish you would.
Distinguish.
Well, they matter in as much as
A
there are
hearing
plenty of
aid
critics
thing?
of
That
the
would be
Obama
it.
administration that
You've got it. The hearing aids thing.
because they can't frankly criticize
Distinguished
the response.
speakers.
So they gotta find something
They've
to
got a
to
Harvard Law
criticize the
School on
president.
the line.
What will the president see when he goes down there tomorrow? Where's he going?
Well, we'll have more
Well,
details.
we'll have
This
more
is obviously
details.
still coming
We
together.
don't have any. We don't have any more
As we
details.
noted on Friday,
We don't have
as
any
I
more.
noted in the statement on Friday,
That's all we have.
the president is seeking to organize this
Harvard
visit in a
Law
way that
School,
doesn't,
Syracuse. That's all.
have an impact on the significant
The
response and recovery
Response
efforts
and
that
recovery
are underway there. in
that are
Louisiana.
underway.
So
So
I would anticipate the president
I
will
would
have an opportunity
anticipate
to
to
see some of the
see
damage
some of
firsthand.
the
I would anticipate
I
that the
would
president will have the
anticipate-
opportunity to speak to
the
officials in Louisiana
officials in
who have
Louisiana
been managing the response effort,
managing the response,
including the governor and lieutenant governor.
including the
I
government,
would expect
lieutenant
the president
governor.
will have an opportunity to meet with and
To
offer
meet
some
with,
comfort
Offer some
to
comfort.
citizens whose lives
It's
have been thrown into
Ophelia.
chaos as a result of this event. And I'm confident the president will take advantage of
And
the
I'm
opportunity
confident that Civarella
to thank some of those
and
who
Saint Bartholomew
were
go together
responsible for
in Philadelphia
saving lives and at the height of this event.
and Kaiser Permanente.
Doug.
Are you equating these two
Today's show is
storms,
sponsored by Kaiser
Katrina
Permanente.
and the rainfall in Baton
Ash
Rouge
is
right now?
too
Because one
cheap.
was of a scale much
Tushy.
grander than anything we've seen here.
Hello,
One was
Tushy.
caused by
Kaiser.
days and
Hello.
days of steady rain. The other was caused by a hurricane, which devastated the entire southeast United States,
Tushy.
affecting millions and millions of people. Yet you said the federal government did a much more effective job with this most recent storm, which is fully understandable.
Oh, wow.
on scale.
I think what I'm saying is that
Tushy is the general
Louisiana
name for a
officials,
family of
Democrats and
psychedelic
Republicans who are saying that the federal response to these floods in Baton Rouge has been much more
Psychedelics.
effective than the federal response to Hurricane Katrina in 2005. So I was citing their experience, and I think it's some of your colleagues who are noting that it's about the same time of year that these
about
two
the same
events
time of
occurred.
the year.
Just as a matter of
This is a matter
science,
of science.
I've seen some reporting on
And
this that actually
biometrics.
indicates that there is substantially
There are
more rainfall
substantially
associated with this flooding event
associated.
than was
When
actually
this movie
even part
came
of,
out, I was 11 years
of Hurricane
old.
Katrina. Now, what was also included in Hurricane Katrina
What was also there was
a storm
Donahue
surge
and Geraldo.
and wind
And-
damage that
and
wreaked havoc on a large
havoc.
American city. But I think it's
I think it's a talk
but I think
show.
it is.
There's a lot of talk shows
I
going
don't think
on
it's
here.
fair to downplay the significance
Oprah
of
Winfrey.
this historic
That's
flooding
us.
event
Oh,
that's
boy.
affecting not just Baton Rouge, but
Yeah, that's us.
other parts of southern and central Louisiana.
And then back to the $400 million payment.
Yeah.
The rest of that money, the 1.3
Today's
billion.
show sponsored by
has
Buffalo
been paid.
News
Is that my understanding? And what was the
and
form
Sully
of the
in
payment?
theaters.
My understanding is that this
Renee, who's
interest
your attorney?
payment. So just to go back,
so just
the
to go
$400
back.
million payment was actually the
$400 million
principal.
payment
This
was
was
the
Iran's
principal.
money. Back in
Iran's
1979,
money.
they had deposited money into a
Deposited
U.S.
money
account
into a
because
US
they were
account.
open to buy
They were open to buy
military
oil,
equipment.
military
Of
equipment.
course, that military
Of course,
equipment was not provided to the
was
Iranian
not
regime
provided to the
because
boil.
we're just seeing the government be
We're
overthrown.
just
there.
seeing lumps show up.
So this
And
is
it's
money,
is
Iranian
money,
money, that had been
Iranian
held
money.
in a U.S. account
in a U.S. account
for 35 years.
for 35 years.
And so the $400 million was actually the return
Let's
of that
sail
principal.
away.
And the financial
And, the
dispute
financial
was rooted
dispute
in how much
rooted
interest
in
we were going to have to pay.
How much interest?
And the resolution
And the
of
resolution,
that dispute
the smart team,
by getting Iran to accept a $1.3 billion interest
reverse.
payment
Let's reverse the curse.
in the eyes of
In
experts,
the shops,
potentially save U.S.
Nicole
taxpayers billions of dollars.
buys groceries.
So that's the argument
That's
for why
the argument that we have. We're trying to reverse it.
we made this
Smart
settlement.
team.
But as it relates to the
We made the
mechanics here,
settlement.
what I can tell you is that
Shop
the
Smart
$1.3
is
billion payment has
Driving
been
the
made.
wrong way up the street.
It was made through
Erie
a
County Smart Team. Shop Smart.
transaction involving
Yes,
central
we are
banks.
reversing the curse.
But obviously not the
But
US central
obviously,
bank, because there are extensive
because there are a phone
restrictions
number
on the financial
assigned.
relationship
We assigned
between the
phone
United
numbers.
States and Iran. So we had to work
That
with
car
partners.
parked the wrong way on
And out of respect for those partners, we're not
23900
going to disclose which partner it was. But
Princeton.
this
Court.
is the kind of central
This is a
bank
reverse of the
transaction,
corner store
that is,
that the U.S. is concerned about.
while probably not routine, not particularly uncommon.
We're reversing the corner
Next
store.
question, because if you use central banks to make this most recent.
Today's show is
transaction,
sponsored by the
why
corner
did you not
store. Right,
use
void on the
in
check.
First transaction, and why did you not wire
With a
the money
crayon.
to a third party, which did
No, it
have
wasn't a
banking
crayon. It was a
relationship?
marker.
Well,
Well, right,
transfer of
void.
The $400 million was actually a central
Void
bank to
that
central
check.
bank transaction. So
So
that's why
So
I
that's
went back
why
to Michelle on the
14th
suggestion
Street.
that somehow this is
14th
rather
Street, right,
unusual.
void in the check.
Again, I don't think it's
Again,
common
I don't
given
think
the
it's
extraordinary
linked.
circumstances here. But the mechanism for this transfer was also
But
conducted
they sent
from
that
central
check
bank to
from
central bank.
Craigslist.
There are significant
Buying a
limitations
projection
on
TV. Our ability
to engage in financial
to engage in
transactions
financial
with Iran
transactions with
because
Iran
of all of the
because
sanctions
of
that the
all the
United States has put in
sanctions.
place. Now, some of those sanctions have been rolled back because that
Rolled
was part
back.
of the
Walmart is catching us with our receiver.
so there is more flexibility.
So we
in
don't want the
executing these kinds of
terrorists
transactions
getting
than existed
biometrics
when the
from our
$400
savings
million
catcher.
payment was made. But the fact is,
We'll be
it's
at
difficult
Target
to engage in any of
to
these sort of financial
engage
transactions
in buying
because of the
products
remaining
because we're the largest
sanctions that are
public
in place
sector
because of
employer.
Iran's violation of human
Public
rights and support for terrorism and other things.
And you're aware
Public
that many of
sector.
your congressional critics, right-wingers, say that this
In our
form of
Intex
payment,
mattress.
cash, in euros,
Inflatable.
Swiss francs, and other denominations,
Water
is
rafts
precisely
for
how
Katrina.
Iran pays many of its terrorist proxies.
Well, again,
Savings catcher is
how
to
exactly
get the best price.
Iran engages in these financial transactions.
It doesn't mean anything else.
If they do, maybe some of our
If they
intel
do
analysts
catch
would like
it,
to
they
talk.
catch it. They don't. They don't.
But what I can
But we're terrorists.
what I can assure you of,
But Superman will
is
save us
that
all.
the
Oh, I love
financial
Superman.
agreement
Shave me,
that we reached
Superman.
saved U.S. taxpayers potentially
Save me from
billions of dollars,
falling down.
and that's exactly why we reached
Monsignor.
this agreement.
Last question.
Superman shave me.
You talked about the
We
right
talked about savings catcher.
He has offered a fundamentally different interpretation of this transaction, that it was connected to the release of these hostages. The president, in his last press conference,
We
before
love
departing on this
Walmart.
vacation, said the United States does not pay
And
ransom.
greeting
You talked
cards.
about the benefits of this exchange, but you've not talked about the
We
detriments.
love it. Brother does it for our show.
There is a bounty hanging over the heads of U.S. citizens who are being held by terrorists.
We'll talk to you guys on the
Well, anybody who
re-air.
thinks there's a bounty over U.S. citizens is
Well,
being foolish and
they're
thinking
being
so, because
foolish.
The United States does not pay
The
ransom.
United States
And the
does
president
not
said
have
as much,
Harvard
quite
Law
directly. That's been
School
the
on
policy
the
of this
line.
administration. That was the policy of
And
previous
we don't
administrations,
monitor
Democrats and Republicans.
Sarah
That is a policy
or
that
Tim
has
Hortons.
come under some
Come
criticism
under some criticism.
by some who do
By
think the
some
United
who
States should
do.
pay ransom because of
Because
the value that we place on
the
human
value
life.
that we place,
The president has reached
Ransomville bus
the same
lines,
conclusion that was reached by Democratic and Republican
Democrats
predecessors of his. That to pay a ransom
that do
only
pay
puts U.S.
ransom,
citizens
that
in more
terminal
danger.
was.
And that's why the United States
That's why the United States
won't pay ransom, even
is
for Americans who are
settling.
being unjustly detained overseas.
and justly detained.
I would point out
internees.
that we do actually have a quite strong record
Strong record
of
advancing
securing the release of unjust detained of Americans who've been unjustly
detained
detained overseas, and not just
overseas.
in other, not just in Iran, but in
It's a
other places around
hostage
the
with a
world.
chip
And,
in his leg.
that is a process that
That
this
is a
administration
process
has
of
overhauled to make it more
overhaul,
effective, particularly as it relates to
particularly as it relates
communicating
to
with the families
Harvard
of those who are being held hostage.
and USA
But this is
Network.
something that
This is
this
something
issue
that doesn't make
in
sense.
securing the safe rescue and
Harvard
return
is
of U.S.
the United
citizens
States.
being held against their will overseas.
Hello,
Something that the
Harvey.
president's made a priority.
Hotline,
We've
hello.
made a significant progress in
Harvey.
improving that process.
One more
Well,
question.
we have to go, guys. That's it. Harvard and the
All
USA
right, sir.
Network.
This is the home stretch.
It's the key.
for
We
President
gotta
Obama.
go.